Everybody, what's going on? Welcome to another episode of Personal Mastery Training, the Alliance. And we're back. Got three of us today, three cooks in this kitchen, cooking up some soul food. And we brought another chef. We brought back another chef. He finally had some time in his schedule, busy schedule, to join us. It's Brandon Anderson, who's back. And I've got Dr. Charlie Cartwright here with me. So today, here's what we're going to do. Here's what we're cooking up. One of us, if you're new joining us, one of us brings the main meal of conversation, and the rest of us help him to cook it up to make it nurturing for the soul. So today, the main meal is brought by our man, Dr. Charlie Cartwright. Dr. Charlie, tell him about where we're going to go with this.
Yeah, so very interesting documentary that's out there on Netflix. It's called The 14 Peaks, and it follows a story of Nirmal Purja, who is a Sherpa, born in Nepal, raised, and wanted to do something for the Sherpa community. So he set out to set the record for climbing all 14 peaks, which means there are 14 mountains on this planet that are over 8,000 meters high. And so he wanted to complete that. And he did it in six months and 6 days, which is incredible. I think the first person that ever did it took him 14 years to accomplish it, and he did it in 6 months and 6 days. And it's a great documentary, and there's just so many great life lessons in it. But one of the lessons, the wisdoms that he shared was about the mountains themselves. And he said, the mountains do not say you are black, you are white, you are weak, you are strong. It's one rule for everybody. If you give up, you die. And it's so true. I mean, when you're up there at those heights and those levels and those conditions, people can't carry you back. So if you give up on the trail, which people do, they die. But it's really a metaphor for life, because if we give up on anything in our lives, it dies, right? If we give up on our dreams, they die. If we give up on a relationship, it dies. So I think there's so many practical applications to it. And with that, I'll pass the mic.
All right. This is great conversation. And Dr. Charlie, you talk about if you give up on the dream, it dies. I think if you give up on a dream, you die at the end of the day, because that dream that was installed in you. Everyone, I don't know what we're at, billion people on the planet. There's a lot of people on the planet, and yeah, I believe each of us, 8.1 billion, we have a unique contribution to add to the world. All of us. And yeah, you might go along and say, "Oh, the idea's been done already." Someone else is a writer, someone else is an artist, someone else has a coffee shop, someone else has so on, so on, so on. But I think we all have something unique. Just the listeners, think about this for a second. In your heart, you've gone into a place that there's lots of this thing, a store, a product, a service. You've had that, and you've thought to yourself, "Man, I could have done that better," or I could really revamp this and make this. Oh, here's an idea they're not doing. So someone, or there's an audience you want to serve. There's a need in this world. There's so much people that need something. There's a need to be serviced, and you walk by it or you see it and you're not doing it, and you can create something unique. And so many people get the call to adventure, as Joseph Campbell in the book, in his The Hero's Journey, he talks about this. So many people get the call to adventure and they refuse the call. And they could have made an impact. What is that thing I heard from Les Brown? He says the most richest and wealthiest and most lucrative and whatever way you want to put it, place on the earth is in the graveyard, because there's so many people went there with their ideas and their cures and their whatever it might be that can be a game changer for the world. And they were waiting for the perfect time. They're waiting for, this to happen and that to happen, and it doesn't happen, and they take it with them, and it's gone into the grave, right? And someone else, you could have been the game changer. So when and then it brings me back to another conversation of the illusion of choice. This is something that I've been talking to some of my coaching clients about. You have an illusion that you have a choice about bringing your dream to the world. It's an illusion. I'm sorry. You went for the and they don't offer this anymore, the pension, and you give up your passion for the pension because it's safe. That's what you thought. And but it's killing you to not go after your dream. Dr. Charlie can attest to that, because when I met Dr. Charlie, you know, for many reasons, he was that leap. He wanted to take that leap, and look where he is now. When he took the leap, he's almost like a rebirth. He's a new. He's not new. He's his original self, which is, and every day he wakes up, he's living with passion. And he can comment on this, that when he was in the corporate world, he was dying. He was dying, and so was his dream. And so, yeah, it's an illusion to think that you have a choice but to birth your dream, to let it out. And there's another great quote I'll remember for the next time I contribute to this conversation, but it's a powerful one that I keep. So this idea of giving up on your dream, and I love that what you said about, and I saw the movie too, by the way. The movie is great for anybody out there who want to Netflix a good inspiring movie. But I love that you said that the goal, the mountain, whatever you want to call it, your challenge has no prejudice. It will bend to those who are relentless. It will bend to those who are consistent, but it will not bend if you aren't any of those. If you're giving up too quick, it doesn't care who you are. It doesn't care what color you are. It says, I welcome those who are starving, not just hungry. Hungry people quit early. When they're satisfied, they quit. Starving just keeps climbing that mountain because they're. And I saw the movie at the end, even though he'd accomplished the 14 peaks in the time, met his goal, he's still looking to a cliffhanger. He might go do another thing. He's always looking for a challenge. This guy's just unbelievable. So yes, so that's what I would contribute right now. Is that not only does a dream die, but you inside you will die if you give up on your passion and your dream. It's destined. It's destined for you. So with that, I'll pass the mic.
What a what a great meal, right? It's good to be back on here and getting into the groove of it again. But
Good to have you
yeah,
back, brother.
I it's not just color and gender and all. I mean, it goes beyond that. And I think we put ourselves in this box sometime of labels, right? And this boundary area that we can't ever seem to get out of. So from the financial piece, that it's all we point at the easy buttons all the time, right? And or we hit the easy buttons and it's like, well, it's this reason or that reason or where I came from, and I didn't have the financial backing, right, so to speak, to build my dream, if you will. And like you said, it's that relentless, it also the discipline piece, right? You've got to be disciplined at what you're doing. We live in a world today. I'm going to throw a slight curveball into some of this. We live in a world today where it's everyone's looking for that easy button, right? That magic pill that 1, 2, 3 step process. If you do this to greatness, right? Or the shot, so to speak, is a big thing right now from a weight in the weight loss world, and all great, for that competitive edge. But that's not the end all be all. It's going to take work, right? And you're going to have to put in that work. You're going to have to commit. And far too often, we're in a situation, people, myself included, I've been here. Well, it didn't work. It didn't get the results that I wanted right away. So I'm just going to give up, right? Not even consider trying a different strategy or a different angle or a different tool or technique, and just keep going, right? Because, like you said, Charlie, like the mountain says, if you stop, you die, right? You give up, you slow up, it's going to get you, right? It's going to come in hard on you. And whether it's thoughts, or you're going to start looking around and seeing you're not where you thought you'd be after a year of trying, and now, whatever, towards whatever your dream may be, and now you're like, well, it just ain't going to work. How many people did it take them decades to get where they at? Amazon wasn't built overnight. Google wasn't built overnight. It's taken years upon years. And we live in this world today where we're consuming 5, 10, 30 seconds of so-called influencers' life, and we just see the flash, right? We just see the bling. We just see that sculpted physique, right? Like in the poster behind you, and like, oh, well, shoot, you know, and we expect that instantaneously in our lives today, in every aspect, whether it's a relationship, it's work, right? It's our finances, every piece of it. And the secret is it's going to take work, and it's going to take time, right? And you have to be committed, you have to be disciplined, and you have to be relentless. You have to be relentless. With that, I'll pass the mic.
Yeah, that word you use, Brandon, relentless. That's the key, because there are going to be obstacles to overcome, and whatever your journey, whatever your goals, your challenges are, the obstacles will come. That's a guarantee. That's a part of our human existence, and so it's about how you overcome those challenges, how you overcome those obstacles, and you can't overcome them if you give up. You can't overcome them if you quit. So it's about persevering through adversity. And a great lesson, a great wisdom from Les Brown, he said, if you wrestle with a challenge long enough, it'll start to reveal its secrets to you. And then you'll understand how to navigate this, and how to turn right here and do this and avoid that. And so, however, that knowledge comes at a price. And that price, to your point, is hard work, right? It's discipline, it's perseverance, it's dealing with setbacks, dealing with disappointments, but still staying the course. And that's really one of the biggest keys to life, is making adjustments, learning, but staying the course. And if we continue to adjust our course, learn on our course, and stay the course, we'll eventually get where we're aiming. We'll get to where we're shooting for, without a doubt. So with that, I'll pass the mic.
Yeah, so many great points there that me, I can go on about them. So Brandon, let's go back to Brandon. He had some amazing points here. We create boundaries for ourselves, and that comes through narratives. Sometimes those boundaries aren't created by you; they're created by your environment.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just looking at a book, Willpower, and it's just talking about the idea that your environment. A lot of research now is showing that if we change our environment, it completely supports your success. You don't have to lean on willpower, because if you're leaning on willpower constantly, it wears out, and that's where weight loss, whatever it is you want to do, and you're leaning only on willpower because typically too your why is weak. You have a weak why, so you lean on willpower. If your why is in check, in alignment, you don't need willpower a lot because you got your why. Why am I doing this? I know why. I know I'm getting up. I know why I'm doing this. My reason is clear. It's big. It's audacious, and it drives me. So it's internal. But you leave it on just leaning on willpower. You will struggle, guaranteed. You're gonna struggle because that's got a shelf life. So we need to really focus on where did your boundaries come from? What's the narrative? Who said you can't? Your culture, your family. There's so many reasons why we develop boundaries. Not only from us, we didn't just create them. Because when you're a kid, everything's possible. You can fly. But somebody told you it's not possible. You can't do that here. No, man, that's impossible. I mean, how many
Mhm.
stories have we heard of the airplane? I mean, the telephone, anything. Someone's always there to challenge you. So, yeah, where'd your boundaries come from? And it's going to take work. This is again from Brandon. Yeah, I hope so. If it doesn't take work, your dream's not big enough. I mean, who would even how many people will get motivated by something that doesn't involve work? If it doesn't involve work, everyone's going to be doing it. That's at the bottom of the mountain. I mean, the low hanging fruit, everyone would be doing it. But see, humans, I think we're made to do something that challenges us because in that challenge, we're going to grow. So yeah, it will take work, or else it's not big enough. It's soft. It's come on. To stretch. That's the whole thing. To stretch, to grow, you need challenges. So it will take work. And
Yeah.
then Brandon touches on overnight successes. Yeah, this world we're in. Yeah, you've seen a poster behind. So currently, as my cohorts know here, I'm doing a challenge myself. I put it on myself. I'm doing a challenge to look like these guys. And I've helped these guys for these people. I've helped these people for 30 years, but I've never entertained it. For many reasons today I'm entertaining it. I'm doing it. I'm 7 weeks out from my competition. Things are happening and the discipline. So I respect now. You may just see a bunch of narcissistic ego people, ego driven people. I don't know what the narrative you have with these people, drugs, whatever it is. But I tell you, I can give you all the PEDs, performance enhancement drugs that you want. I'll load up your fridge for them. However, you're not doing the work. You're just going to be loaded, jacked up on PEDs and still look the same. You got to
Mhm.
do the work. You got to put in the work. So whichever way you want to do it, you got to put the work in. So this comparison piece too about social media. Yeah, we're watching. You're right. We're watching 5 to 30 seconds of their life and thinking their life is perfect in the way you want to look at it. But we got to remember that the work was put in. So the comparison and you said committed, disciplined, relentless. These are all great words. That's what you have to be to get this thing solved, to get this thing worked out. Um, and I wrote here. I go to Dr. Charlie. He says challenges are guaranteed. Yeah, ironclad, guaranteed. Again, I talk about the idea that if the goal is big, exciting, and audacious, look, 14 peaks, as you said, Charlie. The man that did those peaks took forever to do them. But here comes this new challenger says, "Hey, I want to do it. I want to." And this man too that did this challenge, the newer challenge, he's also did Navy SEALs. I think he did some SEALs training. He did some crazy things in his life, and this is just another crazy thing he wants to do. But in that whole thing, and many people have died on that mountain. By the way, they keep in this movie they keep finding bodies on this mountain of people who were frozen and didn't prepare properly or whatever it might be at base camp, and they keep finding people along the way. So, and he's had challenges, by the way, throughout. His mom was ill, and He's had, external challenges. Getting one of the great part about the movie was attempting to do one mountain, I think, in China, and they wouldn't let him. But you'd think it's impossible. Like, they're not letting him. They're pretty strict on it. However, this guy found a way. I won't tell you how he found a way, but he found a way, and he got that mountain done just in the nick of time. So again, never giving up, being relentless, committed. That's what it takes. If it's not challenging you, my suggestion is find a new mountain. If your mountain is a little hill and you go up that hill and everybody's there, everybody's at this hill, you can't get up that hill. You can't even get to the top of it because it's crowded. Well, you need to look up, get another hill. Trust, it's life is made to go to these hills. That's the exciting part, because in that process is where the growth happens. And I was watching Kobe Bryant, a thing. Someone sent me a reminder of this video I saw before. They said, "Hey, watch this. You gotta watch it." So I watch it. It's a video that on YouTube says, "Watch this every day." And at this point in my journey on this challenge, I'm gonna watch it every day, because it talks about this idea of the dream. You're not chasing. It's not a dream that's the great, because everyone that's listening has had a goal, big or small, and they've achieved the goal. And then when they achieved it, they realize, oh, damn, this is it. I bought the big home. It's just four walls. It's just walls. I bought the car. Yeah, I don't know. It's not. It's wore off. Or maybe I need another car. I got married. I got the girl. Everything gets a little old. Your dreams get a little bit tiring along the way. But you realize it wasn't the dream. That's like a reward. But the process of getting there is what was the magic. Don't miss it. Don't miss the process, the growth process. And that was the exciting part, getting up every day and not knowing if you're going to achieve it. That was the exciting part. Not knowing if you're going to get the girl, because she was elusive. She was coy. It was playful. It was, but then you get the girl and it's like, oh, it was the dating process that was the magic. I shouldn't have slowed that down. I shouldn't have sped that up. I should have taken my time. The job, the degree you were working for in university. Remember how exciting that was, going to do the testing, and all you could envision was becoming a chiropractor, becoming a this, becoming a that. You could just vision it, and then you become it, and you're disillusioned, and you realize it was the process of getting there, the change. And then I wrote, remain curious. The thing that keeps me, I don't, for me, I'm not a the destination is not exciting to me. This is why I can be consistent and relentless. Follow me. One of the greatest things I've gotten in the last little while is people who know me well for decades. I'm not talking overnight. Decades. My wife, 41 years. The other day we were going for a walk, and she said, I'm talking about the fitness journey. She said, "Yeah, you've always been, since I met you, you've always been doing something. You've been relentless about it." I'm like, see, now that's what I want to hear. Someone with 41 years, and she tells me this, that you've always been. So this is not new. I love that song, LL Cool J. Don't call it a comeback. I've been here for years. So it's, again, curious, and make sure you are curious about what would happen if. Don't say those things to yourself. What would happen if, dot, 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 if I went all the way, if I stuck to the diet, if I studied harder? What would, be curious? Don't lose that curiosity. I think that's the magic.
Mm.
So, with that, I'll pass the mic.
Man, there's a lot there.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And
I
as
want
always,
to
you look at
fill your stomach.
don't look at the clock. Don't, for our time. But I'm gonna go back to your environment, right? And we feel like we're stuck, right? Too often we get comfortable, and we put ourselves again in that box of our boundaries, that whether they've been created for us or we've created them. And yeah, that we've all heard the phrase, the grass is greener on the other side, but sometimes it really is. You got to remove yourself. We've all talked about before the table we sit at, right? We are at the heads of those tables. And is it the right table? Do we have the right people at the table? Sometimes you got to remove people. Sometimes you got to burn the table to the ground and build a new one, right? Whether it's, so figuratively speaking, whether it's a table or a box or the walls we've put ourselves in, that we've conditioned ourselves through whatever the case may be, that, oh, this is just as far as I'm going to get. This is as good as it's going to get. Isn't always necessarily true to be the case, right? And then action. That's the word that came to mind listening to you speak, Al and Charlie, throwing out words like resiliency and commitment and determination and discipline and all that. They're all great, fancy catchwords, right? You could probably hashtag every single one of them. But if you don't put each one of those words into action, what do you got? A dream that's going nowhere fast in some
Yes, sir.
aspects. Nowhere fast. And also what comes to mind too is, you talked about kids, and like as a kid, you believed you could fly. And
Mm-hmm.
there's a book out there. It talks about, somewhere in that book, childlike faith. So it's interesting, sitting back, and I was around, man, 6, 7 little boys yesterday. You're talking 5 years old down to 1,
Mm.
run around at a family barbecue and gathering. And I mean, they were relentless and just having fun and experiencing the world and their thoughts and their questions and what they believed they could do. And no one was really telling them no. They haven't been here long enough in the world to be influenced by the world like us as adults, right? And I think that's where that phrase childlike faith, and if a person can keep that as an adult, as they're chasing and going after their dream, I believe the chances of success are greater, right? But too often as adults, we've told, oh, I can't do this, or I can't do that, or this reason or that reason, whatever it may be. And we shut ourselves down. We kill ourselves before we even begin, if you will, right? And don't even give it an opportunity. We don't put in the work, or we become complacent, and we just believe in this ceiling we've created for ourselves. But if you put into action the discipline, the commitment, right? You look at your environment. I've put on, it's interesting, all three of us are on a journey right now to be our better selves, right? Whether it's from a competitive standpoint for bodybuilding and physique, or just being healthier. I've lost about 10 pounds in the past, this is September, 9 months, roughly, maybe 8. I've actually packed on about 5 pounds extra of muscle that I didn't have. And what changed? Started going to a different gym. The environment, the vibe, the equipment just completely has changed my entire routine, and the results are there, right? Was it
Exactly.
difficult to leave that other environment? Sure. I got friends, my wife, family, loved ones, people I've known for 15 years at this other place, and I don't get to see them like I used to daily. Don't
Mm-hmm.
have that routine of interaction, but it wasn't working. Something had to change. My mindset's
Agree.
different. Physically, I'm different just by changing the environment. And it's scary. Don't get me wrong. Changing your environment, going somewhere new, there's a fear, right? And I'll play off that to what you were saying, Alice. If your dream doesn't scare you, your dream ain't big enough. And we've all probably heard that statement in one way, shape, or form, formulated differently, but there's truth to that. Like you said, if you just, hey, I'm going to climb that little hill over there, and that's where everybody else is, right? It might be a step up, but it ain't the mountain. It ain't the peak. And with that, I'll pass the mic.
Great points, fellas.
Mm-hmm.
And I like what you said, Alvin, earlier about just being curious. What if I succeed? What if this works out? What does my life look like then? Right? What if it is possible?
Mm-hmm.
Then what? And too many times we do the opposite and we talk ourselves out of pursuing things that we can accomplish if we believed and if we persevered, right? So getting curious in a positive way is something that's not common today. People get curious in a negative way. Well, if I fail, then this will happen, and this will happen, and this will happen, and this won't work out, and this will be hard. And instead of all of that, what if I can do it? What does that look like? Right? What does my life look like after I accomplish this? Right? What does my life look like during the journey? What am I going to learn? What kind of legacy am I going to leave? There's so many positives that come out of the journey, right? And to your point, Brandon, who you have around you, your environment really does matter. And so in this documentary in 14 Peaks, he had very specific people on his team that climbed these peaks with him. Now, everybody didn't climb all 14, but he had very specific team members for every mountain, and they all had very specific skill sets and strengths that complemented what he was wanting to achieve, and they did achieve it. And so he was very selective when he put the team together. And we have to be very selective about who we let into our life, right? Because we need people in our lives that are going to support us. And so the people that he had with him on those mountains were encouraging, they were supportive, they were working just as hard as he did. And it was an amazing camaraderie that they built going through those things. And so it really highlights the purpose. He couldn't have somebody on his team that's going to quit. He couldn't have somebody on his team with a negative attitude. And sometimes they would go into these base camps where there were already mountaineers and climbers in the camps. And everybody in the base camp, there was one particular mountain, I think it was K2, right? Everybody had given up. They're like, oh, the mountain's not going to let anybody summit it this year. And so there were dozens of people at this base camp that decided they can't do it and they're going to go home. And Nirmal comes in there and says, he's got some colorful language and puts a plan together on how they're going to achieve it. And of course, the other people waited for his team to go up there. They set the hooks, they set the ropes, they set all the ladders and stuff. They go up there and they summit K2. And I think within 2 days of them summiting it, 24 more people made it, right? But they took advantage of the work that his group had put in. So it does matter who we have around us. And that's something that we can't ever underestimate the power and impact it's having on us. And I think at least twice a year, you got to really sit down and look at who you have around you and how they're contributing or detracting from your life and make the appropriate adjustments. And with that, I'll pass the mic.
My friend, Brandon, you have
Yeah, I want to real quick throw in there too something you just said, Charlie, about that experience on K2 for that gentleman. How he, clearly determined, he was relentless, he was committed, and he wasn't taking no for an answer. And the byproduct of that, you said there was 24 other people, groups, so to speak, because it's not just one individual, right? It's a team that goes up, and evaluating who you have on that team and around you, right, is going to help lift you. We're not really going to do anything totally on our own, so to speak, in this life. There are aspects we will, but because that gentleman didn't stop, right? He didn't die. He kept going. He inspired 24 other people. So again, if you give up, if you stop what you're doing, you stop chasing that dream, it potentially just ain't impacting you and the folks around you. 24 other groups or teams, strangers potentially, succeeded as well But if you give up, you could that those 24 teams, he very well could say, yep, can't do it. And now you got 25 groups that didn't go anywhere, right? So that decision to continue to chase your dream, to not give up, to be relentless, to be committed, to take action, right? To put all that into action isn't just helping you reach your goals and dreams. It's inspiring and blazing a trail for others to do the same. And with that, I'll pass the mic.
Yes, 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 yes. So many great things came out of those conversations. The biggest, and Dr. Charlie dropped the mic before he left there, because the one thing, a secret that I want to point out, that I think is a game changer. And if you're gonna leave, I always say at the end of the podcast, a, a concept my mentor shared with us. I say us because Dr. Charlie had him for a bit. But he said one idea, well executed, can change your life forever. When you listen to our podcast or anybody's podcast or program or whatever, audiobook, you name it, don't go in there looking for 20 ideas, because you're not going to execute on 20. Let's make it real. You need one good idea from a seminar, from a book, from that you will execute on. So here's the idea that I want you to tune in on today. Out of a lot of things we said that are great, every so often, stop on your goal and take inventory of who is influencing you. Whether it be a weight loss goal, look at your friends, your 5 friends, or 5 people who influence you. Look at whether it be you want to go back to school. Let's take getting older. Are you around people who think retirement is, and they just sitting around and watch TV and do nothing much because I'm old? Or are you hanging out with people, or most of my friends in my environment, look at what we just said, Brandon said earlier. All 3 of us are on some kind of a optimizing our life goal. And what you have here is a bunch of more matured people on this call right now who are all not saying it's over, who are all saying, let me be better still. And that drives each of us. So you raise your game. So every so often, I believe for me, the game change out of this podcast is, one, stop every annually, 6 months, whatever it is. Take inventory of who's around you and the effect they're having on you. And also think about this. In order to get this goal done, do you have the right people in the right seats on your bus? Now, when I say take inventory, does that mean getting rid of people? No. It just means who will support you at this time to get you where you want to go, to speak into you, to associate with you. We're not saying clear out everybody. Everybody's out of here. I heard this podcast, you're gone. No, it's not that. What we're saying is financial goal. If you have a financial goal for the new year, clean up your finances. Find in your group or a new person that is very finance focused, that are doing well financially. Hang out with them for a bit. Have coffee. Let them influence you. Then you start focusing on your finance. If it's a weight loss, hang out with somebody who's in great shape, who is not, and by the way, make sure they're not the I'm getting for the wedding crowd or I'm getting ready for a vacation crowd. No, you want a relentlessly, always in shape person, and pick their brain. Hang out with them. Go to the gym with them. Hey, you got anybody you train with? I'd love to train you for something like that. Get with them. Find out what they're cooking, what they're eating, because that's the biggest thing. Take inventory of who's around you and are they on the right seats at this time in your life. Will they support your dream? Because they have a huge impact on you. You are the sum total of the 5 main friends that you hang out with. If you want a better relationship, don't hang out with the person that calls you every Friday. Hey man, you want to go to the club? And just you want to hang out with the people who are going to support your dream. So take inventory. That's the biggest thing I would leave this call with is And it might be the jump starter you need to get your dream. Who am I hanging out with? Who's supporting my dream? Or who's not supporting my dream at this time? Again, it's not about cleaning out your closet and getting rid of everybody who you love. No. It's about you love them, but they're not serving that purpose at this time. And then the other one I would say is, you know, Brandon mentioned, Dr. Charlie mentioned too, is when your dream is big enough and when you're passionate enough, when you're liberated from your own fear and you're committed, you automatically draw in the people that will want to do it with you. So it's again, how committed are you? If you're very weak, then if your dream's not that big, it's not that audacious, it's not that exciting, you probably won't draw in the people you need for that. But I think everybody, I don't care who you are. You know, the interesting thing about social media right now that I'm noticing. So back in 2000, back in the pandemic era is when I jumped on TikTok and all these things, just see what's up. And I started to do some goofy things on there and with my family and passing time. Anyways, I started watching a lot of these influencers start out on there, with a few followers and then they grew into millions. And what's happening now is a lot of them are being successful in owning their own comedy shows. A lot are on commercials, TVs, the whole nine yards. Because they were committed throughout the thing. And then all these opportunities started coming to them. It gave them a platform to be that way. So, again, who's in your friend group? How audacious and big is your goal? Don't choose, challenge yourself, humans. Humans, challenge yourself. Do something that scares you. I'm 57 years old. I have 4 kids, business running, and I'm going to enter a bodybuilding contest to put on some shorts and some Speedos, and I'm going to get on stage and be judged. And there's nothing to hide, by the way. Nothing to hide. So I can't, I'm finding out that it's the most truthful sport you want to get into. Because you can't hide. If you cheat on your diet, you'll know. Everyone will see it. It's the most revealing. So, and here I am. I could go chill. I was pretty healthy. I got decent, I can get by. But no, I'm going to put myself out there and I'm going to go do a posing routine. I'm going to it's challenged me at 57 years old and I'm doing it naturally. So, a little bit more work. So, challenge yourself. Humans, listen, it's part of our DNA. We must challenge ourselves because guess what I do know? Guess what's guaranteed? Taxes, death, and change. Guaranteed. I don't care if you move to the mountains saying I don't like change. I'm not for me. Well, how's your rotary phone at home? Is it still pretty good? How's your black and white TV? Are you still clicking the channels? Click, 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 click. Right? I'm sure you're not. Okay, so how's the pony? Your horseless carriage, is it still going good? So you can't change. You can't stop change. So adapt to it and conquer. All right, with that, I'll pass the mic.
That's some great advice to really look at your environment and the people you have around you. And again, it's not to be mean or anything like that. It's just the fact of the matter is, if you go back to the example of the 14 peaks, everybody can't climb the mountain with you. Everybody can't climb. They don't want to. They don't have the dedication. They don't have the commitment. They don't have the right mindset, attitude. There's so many reasons why people can't climb the mountain with you. And you can't let them prevent you from climbing your mountain. So sometimes you have to make some hard choices and hard decisions. And I know recently I've had to make some adjustments, and who's around me. And, when I really look back at, I had one relationship in particular. I was looking back and I was like, man, it's like Groundhog Day. Every time we get together, this person complains about these three things, and it's just all about complaining and, no forward progress, no mindset shift, no exciting, hey, I'm reading this book, hey, I'm working on this. It's just a complaint session. And there's just no value in living your life like that. And I remember, I don't know who the guy was, but he had a cancer scare. He'd overcome cancer and things like that. And he said that one of the things that changed him was one of the things that had changed in him was his mindset and the things he talked about. He says, I don't want to spend a single minute of my life talking about, hey, you know what sucks? This. You know what sucks? That. He says, I'm not spending any time talking about negative content. He said, I'm all about expansion and positivity. And so I think that's one of the keys to achieving everything that we want to in life. So with that, I'll pass the mic.
There's that word I was looking for. I'll wrap up my final statement with the key. Who holds the key, right, to your dream, to achieving that level of success, whatever it may be, whatever your goal is? And the only person that holds the key. It's not that it's not determined by your environment, financial status, your race, your gender, any of the other labels that are superficial to a certain degree when it comes to this that hold the key. You as an individual hold the key, and it's whether or not you are going to use that key, right? You're going to turn that lock through putting in the work and excuse me, taking action to achieve your goal and your dream. And with that, I'll pass the mic.
Beautiful, beautiful. And I will wrap it up with a summary. Remember what we're talking about here. The secret to not giving up on your dream, on your goals, on your vision, whatever it is. The secret in summary then is one, get clear about what your path is, where you're going. Two, take inventory of who is going with you and what the effect they're having on your motivation and so on is. And I remember a book I read called Who Not How. Sometimes it's not about attempting to do it on your own is how do I do it? You're asking the how. The real question is who. Who can do it for me and help me go the distance? They say you can run fast by yourself, but you can go the distance with others. So it's an African proverb. So who, not how. So take inventory of who's on the bus with you and who can support you now. Again, remember, we're not talking about dumping people, because that's the tough part when people think about it. It's not dumping them. It's about just putting the right people there. And you know what? Those other people who don't belong may not want to go on that journey anyways. The ones who love it, they're there all the way with you until a certain point. Then you take inventory. So the secret to not giving up is a combination of things. Is to get clear, is to assess who's on your journey, where are you going, is it worth it, is the goal worth it? And Brandon finished there with the key. The only person who should hold that key to your dream is you. Um, and assess your narratives. What's stopping you? Be relentless about it. Again, in the movie, and you should all check it out. In the movie, the Chinese government said he couldn't climb that one last mountain, but he was relentless. He found a way, and he leveraged his community. And watch that movie. It's great. A lot of lessons. So let's not give up on our dreams. My one word I'm going to leave you with before everybody takes it is that take inventory. 2 words. Take inventory. And I'll pass that to get that, and then we will wrap that up.
My word's going to be perseverance.
Yes.
Yep.
Brandon,
I'm going to go with
motivates you?
Yeah, my one word will be relentless.
Yes. Amen. perseverance, relentless, and take inventory. Amazing. Everyone, if you know someone who's on the verge, you see in them more than they see in themselves, and they're on the verge to giving up, I'd love you to share this podcast with them. And some word in it might be that thing they need to stay the course, to go deeper, to move from stagnant to putting some life support back in that dream. So share this podcast. Let's grow this community. We're out here again giving you samples of some soul food to help nourish you. All right, until next time. You got the word. Do not give up. Stay the course. We're with you. And we want to wish you what? Peace. We need it. And we need so much love. And then a sprinkle of what?
A little bit of soul.
So,
Baby, you got it. All right. Until next time, everybody. We appreciate y'all. Have a great week. Peace and love.